As our nation celebrates 250 years of independence this year, the Goodman-LeGrand Museum in Tyler brings history home with a journey from Tyler to the trenches.
Cool story. KLTV7's April Peardot shares with us a gripping World War I exhibit honoring the Tyler Company and the brave veterans who served and are still remembered today. Take a look.
At the Goodman-LeGrand Museum in Tyler,
we are so happy to have a collection.
A one-of-a-kind historic collection is put on display.
It's souvenirs and memorabilia from men who were from Tyler and Smith County who fought in World War I.
What makes this collection unique?
All owned by Chance Spencer, who actually lives in Midland.
Debbie Isham, the supervisor of the museum, says the exhibit is about more than just displaying artifacts. It's about preserving Tyler's history.
They're over 100 years old, and we're still looking at them. Me as a curator, getting to actually touch the items and putting them in the cases, you take on a whole nother dimension when you think about what they went through serving in a war.
From the infamous Underwood typewriter
that chronicled so much of the information about the men in the Tyler Company. Private Willie Barton used this typewriter.
Including over 700 postcards collected by Captain Carl White.
Back then, you just didn't really carry around a camera with a lot of film, so you collected postcards.
As well as
a restored photograph of all the men in Company C. The 133 Machine Gun Battalion. This is a photograph of them in France all together.
Some of these veterans even held reunions in Tyler years after the war.
The Goodman Museum was actually part of where they had their reunions in 47 and 48.
Isham says the whole exhibit gives visitors a chance to pause and reflect on the courage and resilience of that generation.
And how important it is to understand their sacrifice.
April Peardot, KLTV 7 News.
The exhibit runs until March 7th. It's open Tuesday through Saturday at the Goodman-LeGrand House from 10 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon. It's free to get in, but they do encourage donations. Now, we're encouraging some good weather.